Yeah, we are here at the booth of MindStream, and this is Jim, right?
Yeah,
yes.
Jim Clark.
Yeah, where are you from?
Burlington, Vermont.
Okay. And you have a new product. It's on Kickstarter now.
Yes. Yep.
Show us what it is.
So the MindStream is a aquarium chemical analyzer. We're referring to it as a chemical analyzer more so than a typical monitor because it goes well beyond the parameters that you would traditionally see on the current available monitoring systems. We can monitor parameters like calcium, alkalinity, potassium, oxygen, CO2 levels. It's just a whole slew of different parameters that will give people a much better picture of what's going on in their water rather than just the pH. Now, and we do have pH as well,
okay.
But it's based on a fluorescence sensor technology where on each of these replaceable disposable discs are a number of different chemical sensors. These sensors are changing in response to when they're illuminated by light.
Okay. Three sensors.
Yeah, so there's 3 reader heads on it. And as the light from these reader heads shines on the sensors, the response they get back and the change in reflectivity and the change in the spectrum of what's coming back is giving this an indication as to the concentration of a particular parameter. As an example, the calcium fluorescence sensor, the sensor will get brighter as there's more calcium in the water, and it'll get dimmer as there's less calcium in the water. So the disc, once it's mounted to the system, it's mounted magnetically. The monitor will continuously turn this on an ongoing basis, and every 15 minutes it takes a reading, sends the reading up to a cloud server, and the end user can access that data at any time through their smart device. The power for the system is actually through a wireless power coupling. So this device goes on the exterior of the aquarium.
Okay, it's a little bit like the vortex pump.
Yes, very, very much like that. So you have the power come through, and then the monitor, so the strong magnets, you can feel how strong those magnets are. So that holds it to the glass, so this is submerged inside the aquarium. Yeah. There's Wi-Fi built into the head up here, and so a little antenna up here is transmitting out to your home Wi-Fi access.
Okay, so this is by induction working, the power supply?
Yep.
Okay. And what is this window there?
So the status light up here will change colors and blink different color codes to tell you whether the thing is working. If it has internet access, it'll blink blue as it's doing connections to the internet. As it's downloading files or doing other things that might be changing colors to white or red, depending on if there's error conditions. So this is basically just a status port.
Okay, but I can also check the values at the iPhone or
so to see
every other smartphone.
Yeah, so let me pull up here again. So this is an example of some of the parameters being monitored by the system. And this is a tank that we have back in our office up in Burlington. So I'm getting continuous readings as to what they are. On the smartphone at the moment, the graphing is not complete, so we still have a little software to go. But if I turn this this way, then you can get the graphs as to where the oxygen levels are and scroll through by sliding through the history.
What parameters are you able to measure, and what's about the precision of these values?
Okay, so currently we have alkalinity, ammonia, calcium, carbon dioxide, conductivity. We're still working on magnesium. There's a little bit more development to go there, but we're pretty confident we'll have it. Oxygen, pH, potassium, salinity. We can also give, from there we can give you things like specific gravity. and temperature.
Okay.
In the future, there's going to be, we're hoping to have an introduction of nitrates as one of the next parameters.
Okay, that's hard.
Yeah, yeah. So we've had successful development of a nitrate for freshwater.
Okay.
We have not been able to get it to work reliably in saltwater yet, but I'm guessing probably less than a year that we may be able to have the saltwater version for nitrates.
What can you say about precision?
We're still in the process of doing the validations on the precision, but for parameters like the pH and CO2, we've been comparing against these two instruments by a company called Sunburst Sensors. They just won the X Prize for oceanography research as the most accurate ways of measuring pH and CO2 in the ocean. So our benchmarking against those has shown that over at least a 1 month period that we're extremely accurate. Like pH as an example, we were off by less than 0.01 pH units for a 1 month test cycle.
Okay, and what about the other values?
For the other parameters like the calcium and like calcium as an example, at first initial calibration, when it comes out of the tank, or the calibration tank, it's less than 1% error. But then over the course of the month is where it can start to gradually drift.
Okay.
If it was a precision controlled tank that has like no organics in it, you'd see less than 1% drift over that time. In the aquarium, though, it's going to vary depending on each user's tank and the rate at which organic buildup occurs within their tank. So there is possibility you could be off by maybe even as high as 10%, but that would be an indication that you've also got organic buildup, and you should clean your disc, rinse it under DI water. It usually wipes off the organics, and then you can get it back to you know proper operation again.
Okay. So let's have a look at the future. What do you think? When is this on the market, and what's the price? Is it available also in Europe or only for the US market?
So initially it's going to be introduced just in the US market for first several months at least.
Okay.
The intent is that when we've confirmed that we feel confident that all the kinks and the bugs are worked out, that there aren't a lot of service issues. Also, when we've gotten through all the compliance and regulatory tests, every country's got their laws about radio communications. So, we need to make sure we get past those tests, excuse me, before we introduce it into the new regions.
Okay.
But if I had to take a guess, it would be somewhere in the 6 to 8 months after introduction in US before it might be available overseas.
Okay, and when is it starting in US?
Our hope is, if our Kickstarter is successful, we'll be shipping in December.
Okay.
If Kickstarter is not successful, it'll probably delay us by several months.
Yeah. Okay. And what can you say something about the price?
Oh, so the price, the retail on the monitor unit itself is expected to be about $700 US dollars.
Okay.
And the discs, if buying multiples of the discs, 3 or more at a time, about $35 per disc.
Okay, and you have to change them every month?
At this time, it's recommended to replace it every 30 days for maximum accuracy. If it goes beyond 30 days, it's really unknown as to what the accuracy will be.
Okay, good. Thanks for your information. I hope you will be
successful
in your Kickstarter project, and maybe we'll see us again next year in Germany in Interzoo.
We'll try and make it for sure.
Okay.
All right, thank you.